What is up, everybody? Sam here with BFPGear.com, and today we're going to be looking at the HK Army Performance Series Regulators. So there are three different regulators here, even though they look exactly the same, but they have different output pressures, and HK Army has released these in different output pressures for airsoft and paintball players alike, which is really sweet. And one of the best things about these regulators is that they are super affordable. HP8 regulators are going to be sitting at $34.95. The LP3 and the MP5 regulators will be sitting at $39.95. And then we're going to be taking a look at these to see what's different about them aside from how they look. So with that said, we're going to see you guys and gals after the intro. So starting off, I've got the HP8 regulator here. So this regulator, what the HP8 stands for is basically high pressure and then 800. This regulator can output 700 to 800 PSI, which is perfect for those entry-level paintball markers like your Tipmans and your Spider clones and stuff like that. But this is going to be the cheaper one at $34.95. And the really cool thing about this one is that it does come in a variety of different colors. I do just have the black regulator here, but it is pretty sweet because these things are super simple. Nothing crazy complicated about them. They're just this really nice basic regulator, and then to see if it's an HP8 or not, there is a little ring on top. This rubber ring will identify that it is a high pressure 8 regulator. And I mean, when you install these things, just make sure when you're taking off your old regulator, please be 100% safe and make sure there's no pressure in your tank. That way you can take your old regulator off and then install a new one if you need to. But this will output 800 PSI. You're going to get your dual burst disc just like you would with any other tank regulator. The nice thing is that you have this nice, accurate, and colorful gauge. That's going to come on every single one of these performance regulators. But you also get a nice little rubber fill nipple cover, which will help prevent dirt, debris, moisture, that kind of thing from entering into your air system. That's just going to be like a little line of defense, so that way nothing crazy happens and feeds into your air system, which then in turn feeds into your paintball marker, or if you have an airsoft rig and a whole setup, well, it's going to keep your airsoft setup nice and safe. But this right here is the HP8, and then moving over here, we do have the other two. We've got the LP3 and the MP5, and not to be confused with like the actual firearm, the MP5. But the difference between these is just going to be their output pressures. So the MP5 will come preset between 450 to 550 PSI, as indicated by the MP ring here. And you're going to have all the same features of that HP8 regulator. And then of course the LP3 will be your low pressure, and that's going to be outputting anywhere from 250 PSI to 300 PSI. Now these two are going to be just a little bit more expensive than the HP8. These ones are going to be $5 more, and the way they achieve that lower output pressure is actually really simple. They actually use a little Belleville, I believe it's Belleville, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure it's a Belleville, but it's a Belleville shim stack here with these discs on it, and they actually sell these separate pistons. So if you have an HP8 regulator, let's say you bought maybe like a, an Aerolite tank or an Alpha Air, and you're like, you know what, I need to lower the pressure on it. You can just buy these little shim stacks separate, and they're indicated by, this is actually something that's really cool. These little shim stack things are like $14.95. But this is actually a really cool little feature that they did, is if you're not sure, the piston itself actually says it right there. So this one right here says MP450, so you know it's going to be that mid-pressure piston shim stack, and then you can just install it into your already existing performance regulator. If you do that though, please make sure that you degas your whole system before you do so. That way you can avoid any kind of accidents or possible injury and harm and stuff like that. But I think HK has absolutely knocked it out of the park on this one, because now you have three different regulators that have three different output pressures. So if you're not 100% sure what to get, you can always, go online and be like, oh, I just bought this new paintball gun. Like, what's the best operating pressure on my air system for it? And it'll tell you like, oh, you should get something that's like 500 PSI. Well, then you need to pick up that MP5 regulator. And again, these regulators all fall under 50 bucks. I mean, they're barely under 40 bucks as well. I mean, you're looking at $39.95 for the LP and the medium pressure. Then you got $34.95 for the high pressure one. It's pretty sweet, honestly. It's a really killer deal. And then if you need the spare parts, 15 bucks is going to get you an extra shim stack and a piston. And then you just have kind of everything sitting around if you need it. If you need to pick up any of these goodies, maybe you need like a backup air system, maybe you're building one from the ground up or something like that, and you need to pick up an inexpensive regulator, this is going to be the place to go right here. These regulators are going to be amazing. And if you need to pick any of them up or pick up these pistons, you got to head over to bfpgear.com.